Are the pirates the good guys? Hello everyone, we have a good one for you today. We are going to be looking at the fascinating subculture of Somalia pirates. If you thought pirates were a problem of the past, think again. The most recent case of piracy was on September 10, 2023, where 5 pirates armed with knives boarded a cargo ship. No wonder your Amazon package was late. The earliest documented case of piracy goes back to the 14th century. That means from the time of the Black Plague to the time of the coronavirus, pirates have existed. But the story may not be as black and white as a skull and crossbones flag. Some of these pirates have good reason for doing what they did. So stick around as we take a closer look into modern-day Somali pirates and who they really are. Sorry, no more pirate puns, we promise. How Somalian pirates came to be. If your knowledge of Somalia pirates is limited to what you saw in Captain Phillips, then we have you covered. Let's be honest, we know you were lost in Tom Hanks' eyes during most of the movie anyway. It all started with a group of Somalia fishermen dedicated to protecting their waters against commercial fishing vessels. After the Somali Civil War in 1990, the Somali Navy was disbanded, leaving their waters undefended. This led to some terrible things happening to the coastline of Somalia. Countries like Iran and Yemen took advantage of Somali's unprotected coastline. They deployed commercial fishing vessels that eventually devastated the available fish stock along with wreaking havoc on the sea floor. This resulted in the theft of hundreds of millions of seafood from Somalia waters. It wasn't long before the foreign fishing vessels were eclipsing the locals in the number of fish being caught. The small Somali boats simply could not compete with the larger foreign vessels. It's like racing against Usain Bolt when you have one peg leg. At the same time, countries such as Italy and Switzerland were illegally paying Somalia's government officials to take their waste. This wasn't just mounds of diapers and plastic straws. God save the turtles. This was toxic and radioactive waste. Much of this waste ended up on Somalia's shores, affecting the country's drinking water supply. So put yourself in their position. Your fish supply is being wiped out by foreign fishing vessels, and the few fish that you might be able to catch will probably have 3 eyes due to the toxic garbage that is being dumped in your country. Something had to be done. It was 1994, and a wooden boat full of 26 Somalian men, self-proclaimed as Somalia's Coast Guard, hijacked a shipping vessel for 5 days. This was the early days of piracy in Somalia. Not yet realizing the lucrative business of kidnapping and ransom, most incidents ended as this one did, with the Somali men stealing everything they could from the ship and leaving. Other tactics included requiring the ship to pay a license fee for fishing in their waters. This fee was just about as legitimate as the activation fee on your cell phone plan. The Somalia Pirates, Coast Guard, was allowed to operate like this for quite some time, largely unbothered by the rest of the world. As we all know, the best way to fix a problem is to completely ignore it, right? Fast forward to 2007, where Somalia piracy was reaching its peak. This had gone from a group of frustrated fishermen to a giant criminal organization large enough to be listed on the New York Stock Exchange. In 2008 alone, Somalia pirates were estimated to pull in a whopping $80 million. A large portion of this revenue came from ransom. To help emphasize the reach of piracy at this time, let's explore the seizure of U.S. cargo ship Maersk, Alabama. In the morning of April 8, 2009, 4 pirates managed to board the Maersk, Alabama. Astonishingly, these pirates were between 15 and 18 years old. At an age where most kids are worried about their upcoming math test or which Instagram filter to use, this group of adolescents managed to endure fire from flare guns and water cannons to successfully hijack an American cargo ship carrying 17,000 metric tons of goods. The pirates' initial plan of taking the cargo ship back to Somalia with help from other nearby pirates was quickly adapted to an alternative plan of taking Captain Phillips hostage in one of the ship's lifeboats. This kicked off a 3-day standoff between the Somalia pirates and the U.S. Navy. The ringleader of the pirate group, Abduwali Muse, yes, he is the guy that said, "Look at me, I'm the captain now," was desperate to get Captain Phillips back to Somalia where he could be hidden from U.S. authorities. On April 12th, Navy SEAL snipers killed 3 of the pirates holding Captain Phillips hostage, which eventually led to his rescue. Captain Phillips was uninjured in the ordeal. Interesting side note, $30,000 that was stashed inside the lifeboat was never recovered. Investigations into the missing money were completed, but the missing money remains a mystery. Who's ready for a treasure hunt? Now, let's talk about everyone's favorite subject: insurance. Did you know that insurance companies have made more money from piracy than pirates ever have? And it's not even close. Insurance companies, along with private security companies, are the real winners in the world of piracy. It is expensive to protect yourself from pirates. These additional costs include 1. Higher fuel costs. Ships are required to increase their speed through pirate-infested waters. This is a huge additional cost to shipping companies. In 2011, it cost shipping companies an additional $2.7 billion in fuel costs. Imagine the cost at today's gas prices. 2. Increased insurance premiums. Shippers pay a much higher rate for kidnap and ransom coverage. Things got so bad that the Gulf of Aden was actually classified as a war risk area by insurance companies. All in all, this netted an estimated $635 million in additional premiums for the insurance companies. 3. Additional Navy forces. Navy forces from across the world are one of the main reasons piracy has declined so drastically in recent years, although this comes at a cost. The European Union, Japan, India, and the United States are just some of the countries that deploy their navies in the fight against piracy. These factors all contribute to the truly mind-blowing global cost caused by a relatively small group of Somalia pirates. If you were keeping track of who actually makes the most money from piracy, it's insurance companies, lawyers, security companies, ransom negotiators, then pirates. Interesting. What happens to pirates after they get caught? Times have changed since the golden age of piracy. If it was the 16th century, a pirate would typically be hanged immediately after their trial. Lesser punishments such as flogging and being whipped were also common occurrences for minor crimes. Side note, have you ever heard the expressions, "the cat's out of the bag"? This most likely refers to a whip named the Cat o' Nine Tails. This whip was used to punish pirates aboard their ship. In essence, it means that the accused can stop pleading their innocence as the whip has already been taken out of its ceremonial bag. Punishing pirates in today's world is a more complicated issue. Abdulwali Muse of Captain Phillips fame seems to be one of the few pirates that was sentenced. He was punished to 33 years in a US jail, which probably feels like a resort compared to life in Somalia. Piracy is an international crime, yet international law only defines the crime, not the penalty. This has led to extreme inconsistencies in the punishment for pirates. The average sentence globally is 16 years, but the discrepancies between nations are massive. For instance, Kenya hands down sentences that are 1/3 of the 16-year average, while the US imposes sentences several times longer than the global average. Note to self, never attack a US ship. It is vital that courts consider the sentencing of foreign nations to help establish some sort of uniformity. Is Somali piracy finally under control? Everything changed in 2008 when the United Nations Security Council came up with Resolution 2608 to address the Somalia piracy problem. With consent from the Somalia government, it allowed foreign naval vessels to use all necessary means to repress acts of piracy. This allowed foreign vessels to enter the previously protected 12 nautical mile boundary off the Somalia coast. This meant pirates could not seek refuge using this zone. This was extremely effective in combating piracy. In fact, today the highest amount of pirate attacks occurs in the Singapore Straits, accounting for 65% of all pirate attacks in 2022. We hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.